What's happening, party people? Today we are talking all about what you can expect in the first 30, 60, and 90 days of strength training. What's actually happening in your body, what you'll notice, and the biggest mistakes I see people make that derail their progress before it even starts getting good. This is your roadmap. Let's do it. But first,
welcome to Fit After 40, the Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast. Kinsey here, certified personal trainer and menopause coaching specialist. I've worked with hundreds of clients over the past 12 years and know firsthand how intimidating starting a fitness routine can be, especially in perimenopause. My goal is to teach women in midlife and beyond how to feel strong and confident in their bodies and to help them live the healthy life they deserve, free of pain, heart disease, dementia, frailty, you name it. In this show, you'll get action steps you can take today, backed by the most up-to-date research and thousands of hours of practical in-gym experience. The best time to get started may have been 20 years ago, but the second best time to get started is today.
Hello, and welcome to Fit After 40 Women's Fitness and Health Revolution podcast. Coach Kinsey here, and gosh, oh golly, Miss Molly, am I, as always, you guessed it, excited to be here with you. Honestly, I think today is gonna be a quickie, question mark. I swear we have guests coming up. I feel like last time I promised you brandy. There's like a sickness going around, y'all, so scheduling has gotten all sorts of nuts, but we do have some guest podcasts coming up, so this one was not anticipated, so I had to kind of like scramble. But I realized this is kind of a good topic because it is something that I get asked a lot by clients. It's also something that I get asked by people who are starting their own workout journey and are like kind of nervous that they're not doing it right. And I want to just get it out there, what to expect in your first 30, 60, and 90 days of strength training. Because as we talk about all the time on this podcast, there is this expectation on the interwebs that change happens really fast and all it is a 75 hard or 75 medium or a 30-day this, that, and a bust or whatever. And the truth of the matter is if you see noticeable changes in that time, the chances of them lasting are highly unlikely. Partially because what we did to get them so quickly is unsustainable, and partially because, especially as we talk about if it's a weight loss thing, we're losing muscle when we lose weight. So, what are realistic expectations from our first 30, 60, and 90 days? Because I think a big part of the conversation and what I hope this podcast does for all of y'all is sort of start to change the expectation from fitness. We think about it less of like these challenge scenarios, these boot camp, these like die, these like kill yourself for like quick gains, right? And we start to see it more as like a very sustainable, lifelong behavior, right? Because that's what we're in. We're in the behavior business. Behaviors, the things that we do without even thinking about them, those are the things that increase our health span, that keep us autonomous and vital as we get through perimenopause and beyond. It's what keeps our brain healthy, our heart happy, right? They go so much deeper than just the aesthetic, which if an aesthetic goal, I always say this gets you in, I love it, find another reason to stick around, right? Because that'll be the thing that really has lasting power. And I got in for an aesthetic reason, so there's no shade in the game, and here I am, 17 years later, still doing the thing. It's just a little bit different than when I first started, and that's a good thing. Give yourself permission to change often as you want. Ain't nothing too precious. We're allowed to explore things. So, realistic expectations of what to expect in days 30, days 60, and days 90. And I'm just going to jump right in. It's going to be a little bit more of a rapid fire. We'll see how close I can stick to that. You know I love to talk. So, first 30 days, what we're really starting to see, or more like feel a lot of, are our neural adaptations. The biggest early wins are coming from our nervous systems, not actually from our muscles yet. So takeaways that we see at the end of our first 30 days, we have much more body awareness. We can start to activate our core. We're aware of our positioning in space. So where our shoulders are, the way our feet are shaped, how we're sending our hips back in space. So we're not just dropping into a squat, right? We're intentionally sending hips back first. We're just much more aware of our body's positioning in space, which is the foundation of how we do heavy lifts. We're also experiencing, after 30 days, already starting to experience better balance and coordination. I did a podcast a while ago on the 3 S's of getting started with strength training. And one of the S's is stabilization and balance. So we're really working on creating stability across the body. So things like single leg balances are great. Balance holds while you bicep curl, maybe even working in some dynamic balances like chopping over the leg, extending the leg out to different directions, whatever the case may be. We're really working on foundations of building up those stabilizers so that when it comes to heavy lifting down the road, we make sure that everything fires correctly and we're not offloading in muscles. I had a client recently just get started with me and she said, her PT told her that her QL, her quadratus lumbarum, is really tight because it's taking over the work of her glute med, which is supposed to help stabilize at the hip. And that's a really common thing, right? So we come in with these imbalances, and our first month, we're really starting to train our body how to fire correctly so that we can start to smooth out, not fix, but start to at least become aware and make movement adjustments that can help over time to smooth out and maybe even correct these imbalances. We're also starting to see some initial endurance, right? So we're not getting so winded. We're not feeling so tired during our after workouts. We might not need as long of breaks. Sometimes clients get started, they need like 90 seconds to 2 minutes before our sets. We start to see that drop to like 60, 45 seconds. Not that we want to get really short breaks, right? But early on, we do start to see that we don't need as much rest. We're able to get more exercises in the same amount of time. Again, we're not like trying to cram a million exercises in, but if early on we need to take a lot of breaks, we need to take a lot of time building foundations, we might see like 3 to 5 exercises in a workout, where later down the road we can see something more realistically like 6 to 8 exercises, right? So we're just able, or maybe more sets within an exercise. So we're able to get more reps in towards the end of the 30 days than we were initially, especially when it comes to like training movement, right? Because a lot of the first couple weeks are just like, turn your toe in. This is how we hinge our hips. So it's a lot of just really breaking things down. We also start to feel more energy, especially around the workouts. We might not be like holding hands and skipping through life, which maybe we are, but around the workouts, we're not feeling exhausted. We actually end our workouts maybe even feeling like a little bit perked up. We have a little more energy, a little more joie de vivre on the days that we're working out. And then the like, maybe not so exciting, but important to know is that there is we're more apt to experience muscle soreness or DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, where we're sore like 2 days after in the first 1 to 2 weeks when we're brand spanking new. But after that, we shouldn't be like dying after every workout. A little bit of soreness is good, right? Because it means that we're working muscles to a challenging point, but we don't want to like not be able to walk. Early on, when our body is brand new, we might feel a little bit more soreness. However, by the end of that month, that initial like has already started to fade. So those are the big like neural adaptations, right? Again, exercise is neuromuscular control. It's your brain's ability to move your muscles through space. So early on, that is where we really see the changes, and that's what we want, because that's going to be what allows us to continue on, do this correctly and effectively, optimally, forever and ever and ever. So for 60 days, now we're getting into those early physiological changes. So the body starts to make some real like structural adaptations. So this month, we start to see that we've gone up in weight and we're starting to actually feel stronger in our lifts. We're able to start noticing and correcting movement imbalances in real time. So we're dropping our shoulders, we're adjusting our feet, we're engaging our core. My favorite story, I talk about her all the time, was a woman in Fit After 40 who chronically elevated her scapula. So her shoulder blades were just always like, shoulders were up in the ears, right? We've all been there. And every single movement, I would say, drop your shoulders, drop your shoulders, drop your shoulders. I almost didn't even need to look at her because I knew if I looked, I was going to cue, drop your shoulders. And it got to the point in the first month where she was just like, am I ever going to just like drop my freaking shoulders? I was like, trust it. And then by month 2, because we're training the same skill, right? We're not just throwing crazy exercises all over. We've been working a squat. We've been working a deadlift. We've been working an overhead press for 2 months now. She was able on her own to notice when the scaps, the shoulders would lift, and I'd look over and she'd drop them on her own. I wouldn't even have to cue her. She was starting to tune into her body doing that. We're in month 4 now, and for those moves that we've been training, her shoulders stay down her back. We start to see a little bit of a lift up when we bring new skills on, which is normal. But with time, she's still correcting them herself. And like I said, the movements that we've been doing for 4 months, for the most part, those puppies stay down her back. So that is a big, big change. We are moving through foundational movements without pain. And if we do feel pain, we know that we need to stop, reset, and maybe call it for the day. Because even if we've become more proficient movers, there might be days that we just wake up sore, right? Maybe we slept on something weird. Maybe we're in perimenopause, so we just have flare-ups. Remember, inflammation, joint pain, muscle pain, that is a common symptom of perimenopause, but we never push through pain. And for the most part, I would say so far, 100% of Fit After 40, but we're still growing. People have learned how to carry those foundational movements from month 1, the training of the nervous system. They're pretty much able to move through those foundational movements pain-free. So people who were never able to do squats without back pain, we did all the heavy lifting early on, not heavy lifting, but like the boring, the balances, the core conditioning, the endurance conditioning, so that now they're moving correctly. They've built that foundation, so they're not offloading into their low back anymore. Like I said, that doesn't mean that there's no pain ever, right? Life is lifey. Sometimes muscles will flare up. Sometimes we have tension. Sometimes we fall. Sometimes we're feeling it, whatever, right? But the point is that the majority of the time we're moving pain-free. And when we're moving with pain, we know not to push through it, and we have other options. We also start to notice that we have better posture outside of workouts. Whoo, this is a big one, or at least we're paying better attention to it and fixing it in real time. I know it's not as sexy as like lose 10 pounds in 10 days, but when it comes to your overall health, posture is huge, right? Opening up, strengthening through that posterior chain, especially considering 80% of people with osteoporosis are women, right? That hooked shape of, which is genuine, or generally we think of that like curved shape in the spine. This is a pretty major thing that we're correcting posture. And that's just not for osteoporosis, right? We live in a world that is very anterior driven. So our body is constantly curved forward over steering wheels, over phones, over computers. So every human needs to work on that postural balance. And that isn't just for aesthetic. It is for your musculoskeletal health, because your muscles move your bones through space. So if one side is overactive and one side is underactive, you're setting yourself up for a lot of joint pain, ligament pain, just pain down the road, right? Not to mention suboptimal movement. We also, month 2, are starting to see some definition in our muscles. Everyone is different. This might not be when you start to see muscle definition. Some people start to build muscle definition much quicker in certain places, like my shoulders and my arms, the second I pick up a weight, are like, hey, check out that. Some people, their glutes, their quads, their calves. And like I said, some people don't necessarily notice it, but this is the time that we start to kind of be like, oh, hey girl. Oh, is that a tricep? What's going on? Endurance with lifts improves. So before we were just talking about endurance to get through a workout in the first 30 days. Now we're seeing that things that once felt hard are becoming more manageable. A great example of this, if you've never done one, if you know, is a Bulgarian split squat, right? The first month we're doing this. I've noticed in Fit After 40, most people do it body weight because it's just, when you're doing it technically correct, such a technical exercise that it takes the brain power and it cooks you really fast. But by the second month of doing it, we're adding weight, they're moving through it. They're still this sucks, but they're moving through it proficiently, and it doesn't take the same amount of mental fatigue and even body fatigue. Connective tissue, so we're talking tendons and ligaments. These are strengthening. This is important because they strengthen more slowly than muscles. So a side note here that's important to consider as we're starting out is that strengthening tendons and ligaments takes 3 to 6 months longer of consistent training, with initial structural adaptation starting around the 6 to 8 weeks, so here-ish. But unlike muscles that adapt in literal days, connective tissues, they have limited blood flow and require high-strain, slow-tempo exercises like isometrics or slow lifting to stimulate that collagen. So they take a lot more time, which is why we can see initially, if we're not being careful with the progressive overload, tendon and ligament injuries, because the muscles might be adapting, but the connective tissue has not quite caught up. Okay, first 90 days, we're seeing visible and measurable results. This is where clients start seeing and really feeling the change. Again, when we're thinking about like long-term changes, we want to think long-term, right? So like those big body goals, they do not happen in 90 days, but we start to see trend in the direction of where we're going with those body goals by 90 days. And we've now set the foundation that in another 6 months, in another 6 years, we will continue to see more and more noticeable changes. It's a very gradual change. We'll talk more about it in a second. So we start to see noticeable increase in strength from day one, doubling and sometimes even tripling weights from where we started with exercises. We're moving proficiently in movements that we've been training. So like if we've been training a goblet squat, we're doing it pretty darn safely, and it's probably time to switch up the squat variation. We have more energy and better moods outside of the days we're working out. This is fun when like the mental benefits come online. We might not even notice it. It's kind of why I really love to symptom track, because people almost like come out of this haze once they've been consistently working out. And I'm not talking like 4 or 5 days a week. I'm talking 2 to 3 workouts a week. They come out of this like haze. It's like brain fog sort of starts to clear. They have blood flow to the brain, the serotonin, the dopamine, all of this good stuff. Blood flow to the body, right? We're just starting to feel good. There's like a sense of pride that comes with showing up for ourselves too. It's just it's a very holistic sense of feeling better. We also have improved functional movement, and this is talking about outside the gym. So we're noticing things in everyday tasks like carrying groceries, climbing stairs. They're feeling easier. We're not getting as winded. We're like, oh my gosh, should I just pick up this 50-pound child and not throw out my back? I am a superwoman, right? So this is huge. This to me is like, when I hear people, I have another client who, she's 72. She does a bunch of stuff for the neighborhood. So I feel like at least once a week, but a couple times a week, she goes down to the Mississippi River and she cleans up trash. She was talking about how she was hauling this huge canister of trash, and she had to like get down and pick it up and had to like bear hug it and carry it up. Like, I don't know if you've ever walked down for my Minnesotans alongside the Mississippi, but you have to walk down like 2 or 3 flights of stairs. So she walked up with probably like 50 to 60 pounds of trash up 2 flights of stairs. And she was like, and I did it with no problem. And that's because of this. And that was like 3 months in. So functional, it's amazing what it opens up outside of the gym. Measurable body comp changes. This is the sexy one, okay? We're talking when we're looking at progress photos, when we're looking at in-body scans. This does vary based on training age. So if you've never done anything before, chances are you're going to see more of this than if you've been doing this for a while and you're just getting back to it, right? Because remember, newbie gains, we're like, our body is hungry for this, where someone who's been doing this for a really long time, for example, 3 months isn't going to be like a great amount to really check in. You'll want to think more like 6 months to a year if that's something that you're tracking. We aren't, even with newbie gains, expecting like crazy massive shifts, right? It's a good thing. We were talking about this before. It's a good thing that our bodies are more resilient than that, right? If they were that impressionable that we see huge swings in body comp in just 3 months, we would be screwed more often than not, right? So it's a good thing that this takes time. But by 3 months in, we generally see a shift in that lean mass going up, and we sometimes start to see the shift in the fat mass coming down. Again, everybody's body is different. There's a nutritional piece. There's a neat piece. It's a bigger picture. Habits are solidifying. So training starts to feel like a normal part of life. Man, that first 30 days can feel impossible for the most part. everyone kind of got through this first 30 days scotch-free with Fit After 40, but there was one woman, and I love her to pieces. She is an overnight nurse. She works like 6 to 8 day shifts in a row, and we were having a heck of a lot of time figuring out how to make workouts work for her. And I am so proud of her. She is on her 3rd week going into of getting 2 workouts in a week. And it took probably 2 months. And I am so proud of her because she did not give up. She kept trying, and she just had to, it's hard enough to show up for 2 workouts a week for any of us, right? But when you're tired, when you're underslept, when you're working overnights, there's a million reasons not to do it, right? So what we did was that we're not giving her crazy hard workouts right now. We're giving her strength training, but we're giving her longer rest breaks. We're pulling the punches on more multi-joint movements. So we're thinking a little bit more like stabilizing and supportive, things like chest presses from the back. We're just meeting her where she's at, making it so that when she shows up for workouts, they're not traumatizing and that she actually feels good when she leaves them. And once she's a couple months in and her nervous system is a little bit more regulated around it, then we can keep growing. Everybody's body is going to be different, but having your workout time become habitual, like changing the identity to the person who is, I am the person who works out 2 times a week, that is a huge shift. That is kind of like a diamond in the rough. And I talk about it all the time, but it's one of the reasons that I pivoted to small group personal training where I have only 6 women per cohort. Because when I was coaching in group fitness and we had 20 people in a class who sometimes came to my class, sometimes not, even if I worked really hard, it was easy for them to fall through the month or through the cracks in the first like 30, 60, 90 days. But because this format in Container is smaller, I had the bandwidth and I know my clients, right? So that I could chase her down where literally every week I just like, hey girl, do I get to see you this week or what's going on? So that to me is huge, especially if you know that that's kind of how your relationship has been in the past with fitness, where it's kind of like a stutter start, right? Like you get started, maybe you go a month, maybe you go like 6 months, and then suddenly you blink and months, years have gone by. If you know that that accountability is something that has stood in the way between you and your health span, that's a really good opportunity to know thyself and look for a program similar to Fit After 40, maybe even Fit After 40, in person, Twin Cities, or online, where it's a container where a coach can hold you accountable so that you don't have to do that for yourself. Because I always say this, clients aren't not motivated. It's not that you don't have like inspiration to get healthy. It's that you got these big, full, busy lives. You got job, you got school, you got kids, you got parents, you got insert life thing here, right? It's a big ask to start doing something forever. So we just take it 1 week at a time. And then by about that 90-day period, you're kind of just showing up to it. You are just sliding into the person who is that person who works out twice a week. And we don't celebrate that enough because that's a huge one. That is kind of the biggest one, is the identity shift. So shout out. And the last one we'll talk about is we start to see performance and skill breakthroughs. So we're starting to see things that were not available to us early on. Maybe that's a push-up or a dead hang or a pull-up practice. Or we're starting to learn a different variation of a squat that's more challenging, or a single leg deadlift, right? We're able to start building in some new skills because we have those foundational movements solid. So month 1, neural adaptations, biggest early wins coming from the nervous system. First 60 days, early physiological changes. The body starts to make those real structural changes. And then first 90, we're seeing the visible and measurable results. This is when clients start to see and feel real change. And before we jump out for the day, I'm just going to hit a couple of the biggest mistakes people hit in the first 90 days. Got through that sentence unscathed. So the biggest mistakes, only focusing on body comp. There are so many incredible benefits that are so much more vital to improving our quality of life and health span that come from strength training. So don't give up just because you haven't dropped a pant size. Examine your priorities and find a goal that keeps you in it for a long haul. Again, no shame at all. I actually love that people, it's really hard. It's a really hard place when you like hate your body, right? So I don't love it. It breaks my heart that that's what it takes for a lot of women and men to get into the gym. But what I do love is when that is the motivation that gets them in, and then they develop a relationship that's totally, completely unrelated to it. They start to insert any one of those benefits from the first 90 days, and that's what keeps them around. Next mistake is expecting quick results. I don't really have much to say on it other than they don't exist. And if they do, like we already talked about, they're not going to stick around, and it's not healthy for your body. Biggest mistake, number 3, comparing yourselves to others, their progress, their gains, their body, their weight that they're lifting, whatever. You're not them, and they aren't you. There are 1.5 million wonderful reasons that we aren't the same people. Training age, aka how long a person's been training, genetics, shape and size of muscle, size of the human. For example, I know better, but sometimes I get a little jealous that my 6'3" husband can deadlift more weight than I can. He's bigger. He's got more muscles to work, different relationship to gravity. It makes sense, and yet I compare myself to Margarita definition, make the boys go loco. But the point is, I shouldn't. I'm shoulding all over myself. But that is something that is very unrealistic, right? The only data we track against, or alongside of rather, is our own. How much weight was I lifting when I started? How much lean mass did I have when I started? What can I do now that I couldn't do 3 months ago? Celebrate your wins and celebrate others, but not at your own expense. That's a really bummer when you've got the person who looks and goes, oh, you're lifting so much heavier than me. God, I'm so weak. It's hard, y'all. We are so hard on ourselves. Don't give yourself one more excuse to beat yourself up. You are there. You are doing the dang thing. You are amazing. It's not about what I'm doing. It's not about what so-and-so's doing. It's not about what so-and-so isn't doing. It's about what you're doing right now and how you're taking care of your body. Okay, next up, don't start out so hot that you burn out, right? 2 to 3 strength training total body, 2 to 3 strength total body training. Can I try that again? For the people in the back. 2 to 3 total body strength training days a week. That is it. At least starting out. As you get more proficient, maybe we add a 4th and 5th, but take your dang rest days. I'm not even going to go into the anecdotes of all the people I know who did 4 to 7 days a week and then burned out. Just know I don't want that for you. Next up, do not take on too much. You know how I feel about hard 70 frickin' 5. Just pick one dial mover, just one goal. In this case, we're picking doing 2 to 3 workouts consistently until doing those 2 to 3 workouts consistently feels like a no-brainer. Then we can move on to our next goal, right? That next thing that feels like 9 to 10 out of doable. We are compounding our habits over time, and that is how we change our behavior, our identity for a lifetime, and not just change our body for 6 months. Don't cut calories. Muscle needs food to build, so feed yourself. Robust nutrition. Go back and listen to my conversation with Brandy. Cutting calories while we are exercising does not fast track to anything other than wasting your time and putting your system into a state of chronic stress and inflammation, especially if we are women in midlife, who have been restricting and dieting and chronically exercising for the majority of our teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, right? Take care of your body. Food is fuel. Amino acids, building blocks, build muscle. You see the correlation? That being said, don't forget to track something. And I'm not talking about food, right? I'm not talking about cray-cray, run your life, like micromanaging all the time, but simple things like weights that you're using or sets or reps of an exercise, or maybe a monthly progress pick if that's your goal. The thing about this, for one, when it comes to tracking weights, we just got to do it because otherwise if we're not tracking, we're guessing. So it's really hard to progressive overload if we're like, I think I did like 3 rounds of 10 reps at 30 last week, but I don't know. It could have been 35 or maybe I did 4, right? So it's like we can't really progressive overload. It's science. We can't guess. But when it comes, the other big reason is that changes day to day in our body. We're so close to it. They're small enough day to day that we miss the forest for the trees. Did I get that right? We don't see them as over the long haul because we're so close to them that we don't really get to see the change. It's like, I feel like I've used this metaphor on this pod before, but if you have kids, say their age, they're 1 or 2, right? To you, you see them every day. And maybe there are things where they're blowing bubbles or whatever, they're doing this cute little thing. They started crawling. But then you take them 6 months later to visit grandma and grandpa and they're like, holy cow, that kid is huge. And you're like, oh, yeah, I guess. I see him every single day. So I guess it was getting heavier to tote around, but they hadn't seen him in 6 months. So there was considerable change to them. That's how it is with these things. When we're so close, we forget how far we've come. So take moments to pause and appreciate what you've done already. Which brings us to my final biggest mistake. Don't forget to celebrate successes. Showing up to your workouts. That is a success, because you know how none of this is possible? If we don't show up to our workouts. So give yourself a gold star. Give yourself a gold sky full of stars. Getting back into a workout after a vacation or being sick, huge celebration. Going up in weights that you're lifting, amazing. Moving without pain in an exercise that always used to cause you pain, amazing. Saying something positive to yourself when you look in the mirror, now that is a gold star moment. Hydrating, protein, steps, sleep, celebrate the little wins along the way, because that is how we have fun doing it. That's the other thing. Don't forget to make it fun. Don't forget to make it fun. It's so easy to drop out of fitness when it's boring. It's actually my favorite feedback that I get from clients when they're like, this is the first time that I don't hate working out. Hell yeah. I had a person on one of my online a person in my online cohort yesterday tell me that she used to work out with another trainer, and she's like, and I just kind of dreaded showing up, but I actually look forward to these ones. Dare I say, we even have a little fun. She didn't say it like that, but that last part. But the point is that we're probably not early on gonna stick to something if it isn't at least a little bit pleasurable. And maybe that's just feeling really proud of ourselves for going up in weight. Maybe we just always hate exercise, but we're like, dang, I'm getting strong. That's also why I like the cohort, right? Because being with others is fun. So I thought I would do something kind of fun, because I'm all about fun. This is not a quick episode. I thought I'd do something a little fun. About a month ago, I reached out to folks in Fit After 40 who were 2 to 3 months along, and I just asked them of moments they were proud of how far, things they've noticed in the past 2 to 3 months. So I'm just going to read a couple of these. So I love this one. I'm proud of how consistent I've been during a really, really hard few months. This is probably, I think, the busiest and most stressful professional period I've been through, and I know for the fact that if it weren't for Fit After 40, I would not have worked out for months. There's that consistency. She locked in on something she knew would keep her consistent, and she went through hell these last 2 months with work, and she showed up we gave her some weeks off when she needed it, but she continued to show up, right? So that's huge. My thing that I'm most proud of is progressing in weights and being able to do Bulgarian split squats better. See, we talked about that. That's another woman who was 3 months in, or actually 4 months at that point. Like I said, the Bulgarian started off a little bit like, what is happening? And then there's a skill that we start to learn. 3 months in, someone said, I really can see a difference in the way my arms, legs, and back look. I also have gotten a lot of mental health benefits from more regular strength training. See, there's that 90-day correlation. This is 2 months in. I'm stronger! Exclamation point. Keep getting more solid in my core and in my arms. Woohoo! This was in the first month. So end of the first month, starting the second month was, my hip pain has decreased a lot since starting this, which has been a struggle for 9 years. Yay! So there's that nervous system, right? We're moving better so that we're not she's moving correctly now, right? So that she's not feeling as much pain. She's correcting muscle imbalances. She's firing proper muscles, learning how to adjust through her core. This is wonderful, starting to build in that mobility. And then one of my favorites, all of these are my favorites. This was 4 months in. I'm getting stronger, exclamation points, all caps. I'm in my mid-60s and I'm actually getting stronger. I can feel it, I can see it, and I'm really proud of myself. I'm gonna cry. I'm so freaking glad she's proud of herself because it's never happened in my life at any age. I've tried many times, but I've always gotten sore or injured and I've stopped. This is brand new for me and I'm so psyched that at this time in my life, I'm actually getting stronger. I feel amazing. So those are just some real life testaments about what happens, what you can expect, those wins that we can see 1, 2, 3 months into strength training when we are approaching it the right way. And if you're not sure how that is, because it is very specific, go back and listen to the 3 S's of strength training, or consider Fit After 40, where your first 3 months are totally mapped out for you for this exact reason. And I didn't mention at the beginning, but we are running that raffle for a free month of Fit After 40. So check out the show notes, drop in to win that raffle. I'll be giving like little bonus prizes away to everyone anyway, so it's definitely worth it. If you want some more opportunities to win, you can go and follow the Fit After 40 Instagram page or follow me, kinsey.does.the.fitness. You can send me an email with a podcast topic, leave a 5-star review so that, and it'll have to be a typed review because then I can see your name, and then, or just a 5-star, take a shot and then send it to me on Instagram. Point is, this is your opportunity to get this for free. Do it. It's going to be fun. We love a raffle. And again, if you don't want to work with me, no hard feelings, sister. Find someone who knows what this snoot they're doing and work with them for at least 1 month. I'd suggest 3. All right, amazing humans. I hope this one was so helpful. We should be back for real with some interviews in the next few months, in the next few weeks. I will reschedule the one with Brandy. We've got Danny Foxhoven coming back. We're talking about periods and performance and menstrual cycle tracking. That's going to be a good one. We've got Dr. Jess Blasdell, who is coming on talking about pelvic floor health. She just did the workshop. Every month with Fit After 40, you get a bonus educational workshop. This month we bring in experts sometimes it's me, sometimes it's experts. She came, and Dr. Jess, who is a pelvic floor physiotherapist, came and did a whole webinar on pelvic floor foundations. It was amazing. She is amazing. I'm really excited. She's going to come on and we're going to talk about genital urinary symptoms of menopause. If you have any questions, go ahead for either like period and performance, for GSM, or when I have Brandy on, any questions about nutrition or just hot takes, hit me up on Instagram, kinsey.does.the.diamond, drop into my DM, or shoot me an email, kinsey@fitafter40.info. That's 4040. And as always, if you have 3.5 to 5 seconds, please 5-star review it, leave a little review. It's super duper helpful. I read all of them. It just gets this into more earballs. If you're feeling really spicy, you can share the podcast, take a picture, tag it on Instagram or the Facebook. And you know what? I think that's just about it. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. As always, take care of your amazing bodies and brains. You're so stinking worth it. Aroo!